Hey, and welcome to Level 2, where we'll be diving into building big websites with Webflow. So just to give context, I want to show what I mean by talking about big websites. So here's a website for a company called Jasper, and when you go and hover on top of the menu here on platform, you can already start seeing how many pages are in this website. So this is only platform, then you have solutions, then you have resources, and you can see that there's blogs and all kinds of knowledge bases and community. So imagine how much content and how many pages are in this website. Let me scroll all the way just to the footer, just so that we can see again how many pages are in this website. And on top of all of the pages on all the content here, this company has a big team. So there are probably a lot of people working on this website. Each team may be working on updating a different CMS, or marketers working on specific campaigns, and developers building stuff. So there's a big team working. And when we're working on big websites like this, there are huge opportunities and also some specific challenges. And this is what we're going to be tackling in this module. So in terms of the opportunities, right? You're working on big website, that means big budgets. And of course, as we're moving and progressing in our web design career, we want to make more money. We want to work on more interesting and challenging projects. So this is where we're going, right? This is the way to get there, working on this big, complex website. And mostly when we're working for companies who have been able to build themselves into a more medium and large size, that means that they are already great brands, and it's going to be fun working with them, interesting working with them, and most likely having their logo in their portfolio is going to generate more opportunities. So this is kind of like a cycle that feeds itself. You're starting to work on great big projects, and they lead to more great projects. Lastly, this is really where Webflow shines, right? You're starting to learn Webflow right now. And if you really want to take advantage of what Webflow has to offer, then it's working on big, complex websites. In the last few years, Webflow has really shifted their focus, or actually refined their focus, on professional websites, and now they're calling it website experience platform. And that basically means that they are basically orienting themselves for working on large, complex websites. Yes, websites like the one that we have built in the previous module, and basically small businesses. Of course, you can do that with Webflow, but you can also do that with other platforms. But the kind of stuff that we're going to be working on in this module, that's really stuff that you can only do with Webflow at the moment, and really where Webflow shines. So if you want to take advantage of the unique stuff that Webflow has to offer, this is where it is. Now, in terms of the challenges, okay, so what are the challenges when we're working on such a big website? First of all, there's going to be so much content and so much pages. So first of all, the tactics or the strategies that we've previously used to build everything manually and enter the CMS items manually, that's not going to work in scale, right? And also, we have to start thinking about how we are using classes and how we're structuring and how we're using code, because as the website gets larger, we still want to make sure that it's maintainable, that stuff doesn't get out of hand and the website doesn't slow down as it grows. And the next thing, I've mentioned that on big websites or big companies, they usually have big teams, right? So that means either a lot of people are going to be working on this website, and that sometimes means that you are going to be part of a team that's building the website, and you have to collaborate with other people, or other people are going to, maybe you're doing the build, and after you, a team will take care and maintain the website. But what that means is that really you need to think how you're structuring and how you're naming your classes so that other people will understand it, right? Previously, in the previous module, we were kind of like flexible in terms of how we come up with names for classes and how we're structuring stuff. But now we really need to find a way that is going to make it easy for other people to also work on this website. And lastly, clients will probably want to do a lot more things on this website, right? Previously, we've shown the Webflow editor and how clients can edit text and enter new CMS items. But for big companies, right, a lot of times marketers will have to build new pages. They have new campaigns, they have new offers, and they want to try new things. And they don't want to be limited to the fact that every time they need to create a new page, they have to call up their Webflow developer, right? So these are some of the challenges that we have to think about when we're building big websites. But fortunately, there are solutions, and that's what we're going to cover in this module, right? So the first one is frameworks. And frameworks basically means that somebody has already figured out or coded and documented a process to how to structure a website and how to use classes or how to name classes. And when there is a framework, it's basically like a language, right? And I can learn the language and other people can learn the language, and then we have a shared language. And so we know how we are building stuff and how we are naming classes. And once we do that, number one, we can build faster, but also we can understand one another. The second thing is libraries. One of the great things about Webflow is that there is a big community and a lot of people have already developed libraries. That means that there's a lot of ready-made things that we can use and reuse in our project. And this module, we're going to learn how to use a framework or a library that's called Reloom, but there's many others out there, and it's very, very useful. So you'll learn how to use one and how to utilize it in a project so that you'll be able to move much faster. And lastly, we're going to look into how to create our own unique components and page templates, which basically allows your client to have their own unique library of components in their own design system so that they can build pages or edit pages, but without ruining the website, right? One of the things that designers usually scare most when they're delivering a website to the client is now the client will need to make changes. They're not going to call me back and they're just going to try to make changes themselves and they're going to ruin the website. But with advanced components, we'll be able to give them a lot of flexibility within the design system. So they're not ruining stuff, but they can still build a lot of things. All right, so let me show you what we'll be working on in this module. So this is the website that we are going to build. It's a website for an organization called Atelier Exium, which is a company that promotes design or celebrates design across different cultures. And there's a lot of interesting things that we're going to do here. First of all, we're going to build this using the Reloom library, and we're going to import the structure directly into Webflow, which is going to save us a lot of time. Then we're going to learn a framework called Client First that is going to help us to style and make adjustments very, very fast. And again, also make sure that whoever works on this project next will know how to continue working with it. On top of that, we're going to see how to import CMS of all of the different events from different platforms, so we don't have to manually enter everything. We're going to learn how to extend Webflow with third-party tools like FinSuite to do all kinds of advanced filtering and things that don't come out of the box with Webflow. We're going to build a component library. So we have a component library that's going to enable the client to build up pages and rearrange pages on their own. So that's going to be very, very cool. We're going to learn how to connect forms from Webflow to the client's own email marketing or their other softwares using Zapier. So there's a lot of stuff going on in this module. Now, what I'm going to do is first I'm going to focus on teaching you all of the new functionality that you don't know how to do. And after we build the website and all the functionality is going to work, we're going to finish up all the styling, because mainly we learned about styling in the previous module. So I don't want to start with it here. I want to teach you new stuff first. And in the end, we'll figure out all the styling to just make sure that the website looks great, just like it is here. All right. Hope you're excited. See you in the next video.